Hello and welcome to a rather interesting experiment. Today, we're going to be playing Doom 3 VR. We're doing it live, kind of. Anyway, I'm going to be sitting here playing VR, as you can see with this camera here, and joined by Alex Batali on the other side, who's watching my stream.
Yeah, this is pretty fun. I have yet to check this out for myself because I actually don't have a PSVR. I'm just watching John play through here, and I actually really love Doom 3. John does too, I know for a fact. We've talked about it a lot. And this is an interesting way to play it because there hasn't really been an official release of Doom 3 VR, really, even though it has such a long history, right, John?
Yeah, I mean, this was the game that Carmack first showed off when he was working with Lucky on those early prototypes back in like E3. I don't know, like 2012 or something. I actually don't
Yeah,
remember the
it
exact
might
date.
even be a little bit before that, for all I
It
remember.
might
But
it
yeah,
might be before that, but either way, it was very early. It was cobbled together, but it showed the potential of what VR could offer. But obviously, things didn't go well with Carmack and Bethesda, and we never actually got a proper official Doom 3 VR.
yeah.
Um,
There
so
are like custom mod versions of it you can play on PC, but no official stuff from what I know. Yeah.
exactly. So here we go. We actually have an official version, and rather
Starting
than
up.
like working a typical kind of analysis video, because of the nature of VR, I thought it would be interesting because this is a well-known game to just
Mm-hmm.
kind of go through it and share my experiences with you, Alex, and the audience. And right here, this is so I'm so familiar with this area. I do like seeing this in VR. I mean, I've played with some of the community mods as well, but it does sort of it gives a very different impression when you look around inside this initial area. I must say.
Yeah,
The only thing
it's
that's weird is this.
oh
Okay. I have to move my mic a little bit actually
oh you're
because it's blocking the PlayStation camera. There we go. So look at that. So here's the thing. It looks like you're supposed to be able to use the two hands. I couldn't get my regular PlayStation Move controllers to work, so I think you need the sharpshooter to actually do this properly. So for
okay.
now, I'm actually just using a regular controller, so it like locks things together in a weird way. It's
It's so
not too
you're
distracting when you're in VR, except for when you look at it's like, oh, okay, well, this is no Half Life Alex. Let's just put it
no
that way.
no. It's like it doesn't have like the individual digits and things
Why,
like that.
hello there. Get out
So
of my. Oh, that's weird. The tip is like floating. Okay, so here's the first thing I noticed in this. Dude, you look like a gremlin. Like the thing is like they got the scale a little bit wrong, and this is something that should be correctable in a patch. But
mm-hmm.
you look at this here, and hey, what's up, dude? Uh, he looks tiny to me. Like he's got this little head that it looks like I could squeeze with my fist here, and it feels off. Like he looks like a little kid. I mean, and the same with up here. Like look at little peanut head here.
Yeah, they do. I do exactly see what you mean. In the original game, the height of on a 2D screen with the FOV you have there, the characters do look normal sized. Everything does look normal sized. I just wonder if this is some sort of weird symptom from having like a certain height set as well as a certain FOV value, because it is.
Yeah, no. There's actually in VR games. There's actually like often uh, a world scale adjustment slider. Like in some racing games, I remember this.
What?
You could actually change the world scale, and it exactly affects this. You slide it up or down, and it changes the perception of how large something is. And they don't have that slider here. If they could implement something like that, it would solve the problem pretty quickly, I think.
That's interesting.
Because as it is, it's weird, but it's not too bad because it doesn't feel natural, but it still feels like you're looking at Doom 3, but like in the 3D space, which itself is cool. But everything feels, you basically feel huge. Like I'm sitting down on this stool so I can rotate, but you feel like a giant in this game. Like I'm walking around like stomping on things.
I can't even imagine what this feels like because for me, looking at this on a 2D plane here with the like reduced FOV and all these things, I'm not seeing exactly what John's seeing here. Um, it looks normalized. It doesn't look
Yeah.
too weird. It's so funny that this perception difference
Oh,
is so different.
you you might notice I'm doing this snap turn.
Yes, yeah,
So they do have options in here. Let me show you for the viewers. Here's what you can do.
yeah.
You can choose your dominant hand. There's not a lot of options. You can do smooth turn or snap. I can't do smooth turn in VR. I find
I prefer smooth, but I know people get sick with it. So
Yeah, it's not a problem for like room scale style games. I do have the vignette off, and you can actually change the height. So check this out. So I can make myself 5 foot or 7. So, but it doesn't change the world scale. So if you want to be like really like a giant like Shaq,
I
I
guess
would do
that
my
means
actual height.
each of these doors is just like a tiny bit over 2 meters. I guess that's sort of
That's interesting.
realistic. I guess it's
You can adjust the brightness. That's bizarre for VR somehow. And you like this one, of course.
yes. I wonder if it does. The fact
Flashlight
that
shadows.
that's a remnant, I think, of the original BFG release. If
It
I recall,
is.
that was added in a patch because they might not have had it actually by default on, and it may
Wait a minute.
decrease performance if I recall, but I
Oh.
don't think it would. Oh, that's
Okay,
interesting.
this is cool. So,
How does that feel?
oh, I have smooth on. It's not that bad actually.
Okay.
Well, I'll see how I get on with
Now
this.
this
as they
is
say
this
in
is
the
also
UK.
the interesting thing where I was wondering how they
Yeah.
would do all these third-person cinematics, whether or not it would be like an orbital cam, but like you just described, they have like you sitting in like a giant movie theater and this 2D screen
Yeah.
in front of you.
So this is an area where I feel it's actually a step down because if you look at some of the PC community mods for VR Doom 3, they actually allow you to view the entire scene in 3D.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
as an official product, I guess I can see why they might want to maintain that original cinematic design. I don't know. Like it could just be something as simple as that. Like I really don't know, but I would prefer.
How disorienting
if-
is it when it flips out all of a sudden to a completely different view? Because I've never really
Not
had
so
to do
much.
that. Okay.
I'm used to it.
Alright.
See, this is the weirdest thing. Like I'm sitting and I feel that I'm sitting, but then I look at this guy and I'm
And
like,
you're as tall as he is, taller.
It's so weird, dude. There's so many cutscenes early on here, though. Like, look at this. It's like,
I know.
okay, here we go.
So yeah. So one thing I'm
Oh, Betruger's head looks particularly gnarly in VR. Like, well, not VR, but you know, this is a very large screen internally here, so it's Doom 3 the movie.
So do we know anything about like I would say the technical makeup on specs of this? Is this one of those 60 hertz games or is it 120? What is exactly?
So I'm actually let's look at this again when we get back out. This is something. So one of the things that PSVR games do is they often use essentially asynchronous time warp, which is an idea. It's basically a way to smooth out head motion up to the refresh rate of the headset. So even if your in-game frame rate is lower, the act of looking around is updated at full 120 hertz. And
Usually feels really good. Yeah, it's
it
not
feels
that
good,
bad.
and it does. It feels good here. It's very, very smooth. The thing with async time warp when you usually use it, and it's like you say, let's say you're at like 60 hertz for the game and 120 for the headset, is you actually get this double image effect, which is something that you actually really do get when doing 60 hertz on a 120 display. So yeah, absolutely. Like I see this. From my perspective, when you go here, you see that double image effect, which is just like
okay.
60 on 120 or even 30 on 60. It's the 2 image. So I think they are using that feature here. So they're not running this at like 120 hertz.
Yeah, that would be surprising
Also,
given the Jaguar and stuff.
I can't tell the way they handle the mipmaps here. The mipmap bias maybe it's a little weird. Like the UAC logo looks really blurry from here.
Yeah, I can even see that on my feed here. It like blurs out rather quickly.
Right? So I don't know. I think because of the low res nature of this, I always wonder. Like you can see like that texture there. There's a lot of shimmering and like shaking
marring
going
up
on. Like so maybe they're trying to reduce that by being aggressive with this. I don't know. It's weird. But either way, let's continue. I don't want people to sit here and just watch.
Us chilling around in the corner here. So this
Why, hello.
This should be interesting to see what exactly the mirror sequence looks like. So did they purposely dirty that up? Because it's definitely not dirty in the original release.
I think they did maybe.
Yeah, to make it look.
See, look, I'm like moving back and forth, and Doom Guy is just like,
yeah.
what's up?
I wonder if they're actually just rotating the model, so his feet are also rotating with him, like he's actually just tipping. Because I don't think you can actually control just the upper side of the model or something like that in Doom 3. Just
Whoa.
like the early entry part. So how good do these toilets look in VR, John?
See, oh man, they don't do room scale stuff in this properly. So like when you move in, when you hit a certain point, the view moves with you, which is
Oh,
which is really disorienting. So clearly, this is a game designed to be played while sitting.
yeah, that's so different.
So I mean, thus far, this is neat. Like I like what I'm seeing. It's a cool immersive thing, but I can already see that there's limits. I mean, after playing stuff like Half-Life Alyx and Boneworks, I mean, it's kind of hard to go to this and be like, yeah, this is great, because it feels like the original. Also, look at this. The status bar is messed up on Super Turbo Turkey Puncher 3.
I wonder if it's because they have to render it out twice or something like that, because it's two different perspectives essentially, and this original system was probably not designed around that in any sense of the word. It's just meant for rendering to one texture.
But it's like everything else is fine. I don't know what's up with that. Either way. So yeah, it's weird with this room scale stuff. Or sorry, the way they changed the scale of everything, the world scale. This whole environment feels really small now compared to, like, in my imagination playing this in 2D. I always get the impression that this was a huge, awesome place, and it's still awesome, but it does feel small. What's going on there?
So the one thing about Doom 3 is, its texture size was kind of designed around the time of like 2004. Oh, that's interesting. What is that? Okay, some sort of
transparent geo, or like a connection with the map.
I don't know.
Pieces.
Yeah, I can see that as well too, and I don't think that's in the original. It's like there's something floating there, like something that's missing.
That is super weird.
But I was gonna ask how, like, beyond the bitmap issue that we were just talking about earlier, how did like the textures hold up? Because Doom 3 for its time had pretty high res textures, but for like 2012 standards or
I think up close they're pretty bad.
Yeah.
But I still think like there's still something about the art direction here that kind of works. I think. I always thought Doom 3's textures reminded me of Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah, no.
It has that
green blue.
They have
nice.
Yeah, they have such a similar look. I feel like it's almost timeless. Like even though the limitations are obvious and you can see that everything is completely flat.
It's almost like pointing you in the right direction.
Okay, let's continue here. I'm gonna go this way. This does look nice though in VR. And by the way, I'm playing this on PlayStation 4 Professional.
Yeah, that's a good thing to point out.
I thought about getting it up on the PS5, but I haven't actually hooked up the PSVR to that yet. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't really seem friendly to it, although I do have that adapter. So I need to try it at some point. But
what is
now,
the adapter exactly? What is the
adapter? So the camera you need for PSVR has a special end on it that the PS5 does not have. So the adapter essentially converts that to this USB.
Huh. Okay. I guess that does make sense, but it's a little bit of a shame that there isn't more native. But that's what PSVR 2 is going to be for, essentially. It does make me wonder a bit in the future exactly what the backwards compatibility for PSVR 2 is for PSVR 1 titles, because
I suspect it'll just work.
Yeah, it'll just work.
My guess. I think it'll work.
That would just be excellent. It's
but obviously,
yeah,
with reduced features, maybe. Although I'd be curious to see if the new hand controllers just work in place of the move, and you get like more accurate tracking just straight away.
Yeah, if it was just mapped move controls, but just better, that'd be excellent. Because we were talking about it not too long ago, but I feel like the move is like the less successful. What is this? Well, yeah.
Glass.
The distortion.
This looks nuts
glass.
in VR. I love that.
Back in 2004, seeing this, this blew my mind back then. Especially the one security checkpoint later on with like the shotguns in the rack. I love that area.
Dude.
It's like one of my favorite areas.
We're about to get there.
There's just so much about
how long have we been recording? Because I have no concept of time. I am on Mars.
17 minutes or so, but this is good stuff.
I better check to make sure.
I do.
Yeah, we're good.
So, I'm assuming I almost feel like this. I know they didn't do this because it's based on Doom 3 BFG edition, but they're probably using duct tape flashlight. I'm assuming. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna find out.
Yeah. One thing that I almost feel like Doom 3's
Oh
original.
no! I
Oh,
don't have
that's
the
so
sound.
weird.
I don't have the sound on. What is that code? I forget.
Is it like? You don't
You
need
have
to
to
go
listen.
in there, do you?
I think you might, maybe not. Oh
No. No. There's only. This is thankfully not like that. That was really weird, by the way. When you like all of a sudden it's like a
I saw it.
screenshot of your hand before the loading screen as it does the fade. That's pretty funny. One thing I was gonna say is that I really do prefer Doom 3's original design before BFG. Because the flash, you essentially had to constantly be changing between.
Oh, I love it,
your flashlight and your
dude.
guns.
And here's the thing, and this is the big miss in VR. It's like if they did this for real, like on PC with the good motion controllers or PSVR 2, which should also be able to handle it. That's when you could have a separate flashlight and a weapon,
and
right?
it would be
you could actually
perfect.
Like, hold the flashlight. You get to do that in Half-Life Alyx, and that's awesome.
And it's an amazing
They mount
scene.
it to your hand. It's so good, and like they could absolutely do that now.
Yeah, see, like this area, I love the way this glass looks. Yeah, that's just like one of the failings of design. I think there was a lot of backlash to Doom 3's original vision, which I'm just still
I
happy with these
don't
days.
agree.
Oh wow, look at that. This
So
is
this is gonna
interesting.
be weird because I'm holding this two-handed. It feels super strange. Well, I mean, I guess he is in the game as well, but like I'm holding this like a controller down here, but I could also go.
So there's some interesting things here. Like they did modify the gun to actually have.
Yeah, it has ammo counts on it.
Which the original
That's
obviously
really cool.
does not. So it's a completely
Yeah.
modded the model, and I guess some other things here
That's
that are
cool.
different is that he is holding it two-handed like that.
Yeah.
Like that's slightly
Yeah,
different
that's
than the
different.
original game.
Yeah, because it was always like kind of like this,
Yeah, like over to the side.
and you would just see one hand on it. I think it's because of your life and such.
Yeah.
And armor.
Do you know what does
Whoa.
it look like when you reload? I
Instant
know.
turn.
Can you give a shot off and just show off the reload really quickly?
Oh, there's the flashlight.
Okay.
Okay, actually, that doesn't look bad.
Okay.
That looks better than the regular BFG. It feels okay, actually. I like that. It's not
Yeah.
bad.
The original the BFG edition has this really awkward.
Oh,
It's like on your
it's
shoulder.
because
Yeah.
yeah, that's the difference. Is it's mounted on your weapon and you can move it like a normal flashlight.
Yeah, and in BFG it just like moves with your screen, and it just feels, I don't know, I don't like the way it is in BFG at all. And they also in BFG they use like a transparency texture really close to the screen that's like really low res.
Ugly.
And
It's
it's
so
just
ugly.
like it's like parallaxing with your screen and stuff. It just looks so
Wow.
ugly.
This actually
Nice.
This is not bad. I'm into this. This is not bad.
Can you put the
looks
gun next to your face and then reload it really quickly? Okay, so it is
There
the
we go.
reload. It is like the reload animation and everything.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
right.
Okay, that's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. This
Oh,
must
this-
look really
this room is
small,
cool.
though. I'd imagine like these are really cramped corridors. Do you
See,
feel like
I see with the small world scale, it actually kind of works in here, because it does feel really claustrophobic, like really claustrophobic, which is pretty cool. And I guess with monsters, this size is not defined by reality, so it hopefully won't feel as strange as when looking at humans, where it just naturally feels wrong.
yeah. Let's
Like oh, here we go.
yeah.
I love that. That was and this room back in the day.
There's so much going on
Look
for
at
Doom
that.
3. I think
That is so cool.
it's like
I
one
love
of the
this.
best looking games of all time for me, just because of
Oh.
how everything is.
yeah.
Yeah, everything's just so integrated with their lighting solution. Every map designed around it.
Yep.
It
Still holds up.
Still holds up really, really well.
Like, yeah, it's dated in some ways for sure, but I think overall it's really impressive still. Like it has a really nice artistic design.
So do you have any idea why this exactly is out on PSVR first? I know
No.
the original Doom VR experience, I think that was also originally on PlayStation VR first as well too, wasn't it?
Which one?
Oh,
VFR.
VFR, yeah.
That was also on PSVR first, I think.
Yeah,
They actually sell it on a disc. there's a retail version of that.
so
Here we go.
this is gonna be interesting. It's gonna cycle you Outside.
Oh,
Oh, these
okay.
outside.
See, this used to feel vast, but now I'm like, oh yeah, this is not huge.
So
Although it looks like I'm inside of a scale model somehow. It's cool though, but it's weird.
there's not a lot
Oh, I
of
better.
Doom 3 came out like before volumetric lighting was a thing. So there's a lot of particle effects that look like supposed to give off that look. How do they
Yeah,
look
it's
like in
supposed to look.
VR?
I mean, they look flat, but
Okay.
still, actually, it holds up better than I expected. Like it's still kind of cool.
Should be
Man, I think my VR legs have improved because I used to not be able to do this smooth turning, but for some reason it's not bothering me at all right now.
Is it because you're seated? Maybe. Usually for me,
Maybe.
that may help
Ooh.
a little bit.
That might be it. See, this is something else about Doom 3 is they had all these like little just random things. Like look at this machinery here, like little spinning pistons. You get those
Hmm.
little monitors up there moving around like that. You've got this like smoke back here that's lit from the bottom, kind of with the
It's really
shadows. Like
awesome.
it's simple now, but like it really gives it this really cool atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's
Instead of like
I
the
love it.
ultimately static environments that you would see in a lot of other games. Just not to point out anything negative about Half-Life 2, but a lot of its opening sections, a lot of the environmental geometry actually just doesn't move at all. Because they really couldn't do that necessarily, given the way they lit the game without it looking really awkward. Ooh,
Yeah, there's just something about this that I still love. Like it feels like they designed this world almost like a movie set, rather than like a typical game level.
yeah. Just looking over these textures here, I do see the
Oh,
mipping thing. Oh,
yeah.
John, did you know that the devil is real? I've seen him.
What? You've seen him?
The best part about
If
this
this
is
man, if this Rosenthal were a proper nut, we wouldn't be here.
that's exactly what the Doom Marine's thinking right now. That he's like, oh gosh, why was I sent here? Of all the, lunar or
Yeah.
Deimos bases I could be sent to, why this one? Actually,
Uh-oh.
this takes place on Mars proper. It doesn't actually take place on Phobos, right?
That's
Like,
right.
yeah,
And
so,
you are not the Doomslayer.
yeah, it's
It's
pretty.
important to note. See, that was an amazing effect at the time. That like the extra texture layers, like
It's
the demonic symbols.
oh yeah.
Because I mean, ultimately, that's what changed with this sort of texturing was that all of a sudden they were able to combine multiple textures together, and that's essentially how you get the 3D look. Because you're like, okay, we're gonna have like the normal maps, we're gonna have like the albedo, all these different layers together, and all it really is the ability of the GPU to combine all these layers into a whole. Uh,
Yeah.
that was an amazing step forward for texturing, and it was really kind of starting around this era.
And it holds up still to this day as a result.
Yeah.
Plus, that
But
lighting.
obviously, though, doing all those different textures that ate into memory a lot at the time, and that's why I think games like this, especially, like they have all those layers, but they couldn't make them super high res at the time, especially with the variety they have going on. There's so many textures in this game.
There's tons. There's tons. It
It's
does
so
make
cool.
it does make me wonder what some of like the end hell levels look like, because that's where like they don't actually have like a bunch of unique, really high res textures in hell, but it's like all the lighting selling it off. So that should be interesting to see
That's
what it
right.
looks like later. The one thing you did bring it out earlier, but the PDA is like a 2D surface, like all
Yeah.
the. I almost feel like that's like a missed opportunity to have the
Yep.
PDA be a real
It is.
PDA because there's the tech in Doom 3 to do that, to project
Yeah,
that texture onto the gun or to the model.
It's pretty clear to me that this is a cool thing, but it's not doesn't fully take advantage of the VR medium. They could have done a lot more.
Or I guess
And maybe that,
yeah.
but also the budget constraints. I'm sure we have to consider. Like I don't know what their budget was. I don't know how much time they had. I'm sure this was not one of those projects where they had all the free reign to like recreate that stuff. So it would be very cool. But yeah, whoa,
Yeah, that must have felt
that was
really
cool.
interesting in VR. Back in the
Hello.
day, just to talk about certain things that are really interesting. My history with Doom 3. Back when I got a 3D monitor, which I got because it was 120 hertz at the time, I did use the 3D vision goggles to play through a whole bunch of games. And the way 3D vision worked is it could essentially force it in almost every single game out there. The more modern a game was,
It was
the more,
cool.
the more modern a game was, the less of a chance it had of being successful because of they would have like deferred shadows or something like that, and they would only be like projected in one eye. There were fan patches that came out, like this 3D Vision website, and a number of other people who were really into it would patch these games up to work in 3D. But one thing that always disappointed me was because NVIDIA kind of software locked OpenGL, as it was called, like quad buffering, which is the ability to render OpenGL environments from two perspectives to their Quadra cards, because it was used for professional applications, that you can never actually force Doom 3 to be in.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it was like one of the OpenGL games you couldn't really force into being 3D Vision compatible very easily. So you always had to like search for direct 3D ports of games that were OGL. Or, there was the ability to like direct 3D wrap some games, which would also be like a hacky way to do it. But so I didn't actually end up seeing Doom 3 in 3D until BFG came out, when that game had a very specific setup profile to allow for, to actually be projected into 3D, because this was one of those games that supported 120 hertz after the longest time with the Doom 3 engine like not really supporting it correctly. So Tech 4 engine, that is the default one. So this is the first time BFG was when I saw this game in 3D, and I thought it was just so awesome. I remember liking it like that. So I'm very jealous of you right now playing this, one of my favorite games. What does that look like? That's interesting. Huh.
That's not how I expected it.
Okay. It is, once again, another gun that has the UI element tacked onto the back of it to show how many. Does he still reload 2 shells at a time? It looks like he does.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This is one of the benefits that I'm glad they use OLED displays in the PSVR at least, because when you walk in there, it's just like pitch black.
It's just dark.
It's just dark.
So
there's a little bit of grain, because I think they light it ever so slightly. You can probably see it on the capture.
Yeah, BFG did that on purpose.
It's pretty dark though. It feels dark. Oh man,
it's still awesome to this day. like I when we talk about just like games being updated from this time period, I always feel like Doom 3 is one of the best that holds up, and I'm still hoping for it to come out sometime soon. But NVIDIA's been doing ray tracing remasters in the background. Apparently, I don't know what their Lightspeed Studios is doing now, but I would really love to see this game. So that was interesting. Yeah. When you were just shot there, was there a bit of like an overlay on your screen? It almost looked like it, like when you took damage.
I didn't feel anything significant. I need to pay attention to it.
No, it's all right.
It's easier for you to notice those things, I think, from the outside.
Yeah, like when you're in the VR experience.
Cutscene, here we go.
Turn around. Yeah, that's like the awkwardness.
It actually doesn't feel that bad. It's not horrible. But, man, I love that introduction.
I know, it's so great.
Too bad.
This.
Oh, man. All that stuff back there.
Yeah. I do wonder if because I wonder why they did dirty up the glass earlier in the bathroom. If it's because they didn't want to see your character model so much, because it's really awkward looking, maybe.
You still could though.
VR, but you still could.
Oh no.
Yeah. Because in the original, it's not dirty like that. It's actually like squeaky clean. It's perfect.
Hello.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Dude's back here, I think. There he is.
There he is. Yeah, there's so many. Doom 3, people criticize it. I liked its slower paced gameplay. Yeah.
Oh man, those textures don't hold up in VR.
Yeah, I think that's.
Holy moly!
I think that's because Doom 3 BFG uses the compressed textures from Doom 3, so you're getting those.
Sure, it does.
Blue-green artifacts all over the textures at times, which the original PC version doesn't have, and I'm pretty sure. I don't know, PC mods like RB Doom 3 BFG or whatever it's called.
I mean, the BFG version was ultimately created for PS3 and Xbox 360, so...
It did a good job there, though. Like, it was pretty close to 60 most of the time. And
it was very smooth, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like 720p, right? Back then?
Yeah, it was.
Which is way different than the initial Tech 4 ports.
I have to admit, having the flashlight on the gun, it's cool.
It's
actually, good. I like it.
It works.
Oh,
in
there's a
VR.
guy over there. I don't have sound on again, so I can't hear him.
Yeah, yeah. There is. It is just like a little awkward 2D overlay when you take damage. It's just like
Yeah.
beep, just like goes on screen.
So
It's pretty funny looking.
it's outside of my field of view enough where it doesn't look that way. So I
Mhm.
think you looking at the feed there makes it seem worse. There he
More
is.
awkward than it really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I wonder what some of the other larger character models look like. The enemy models, things like the
Oh.
Hell
Whoa.
Knights and things like that.
Dude, his fingernails are filthy.
Doom 3. Do you think the Doom Marine, or actually, I should say, yeah, he's called the Doom Marine in this one.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the
Marine.
time to wash his hands. What hell
That's
breaks
true.
loose in your job? What do you think this is?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
This isn't a pleasure cruise, so you have to like jump over that in the original. Yeah. Okay, so that's still in
I
there.
still did.
So like jumping in VR is one thing that doesn't actually feel very good usually.
No.
So like in Half-Life Alyx, it's like one of the moments where you can just by default kind of like teleport a little bit if you don't want to use the teleport controls when you jump. But you tend to, one thing about VR is the for some reason the suspension of disbelief is very high after you get into it for a while.
Yeah.
You essentially you get used to teleporting and things like that, where it feels secondhand nature.
That's right. Man. Whew.
Frame rate holding up.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just he was very close to me.
Yeah, it's like Doom 3 even nowadays technically.
Whoa!
that animation.
That was amazing. What was he doing?
What was he? He was just like. He was just like skating in while holding his hands to his side. Oh my god, that was hilarious looking. I
enjoyed that very much.
I think he's supposed to be holding his hands up towards his face with his gun in his hand. I think that's the original animation there. So I don't play Doom 3 every day, even though it has the best shotgun in any game ever.
Every other day. I love the shotgun. I know it's controversial, but I love the shotgun, and I actually really love the super shotgun.
Oh yeah, Super Shotgun in Doom 3's expansion. It is interesting though how Doom 3's weapon selection is mirroring Doom 1's, yet its enemies are
That's true.
some mix of Doom 2's and
That's a good point.
Doom 1's.
And it should be noted, like all BFG versions, it does have that expansion, as well as that weird additional levels pack.
The Lost Missions pack, which I still don't know actually the history behind that, why that exists, but that's another interesting
Is it
thing.
really lost? That's what I don't know.
Yeah, probably not.
Oh, this feels weird.
Yeah, you're like crouching
So
in
this is
VR.
playing around with scale is something I love about VR, and that's why stuff like Astrobot was so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because you feel like you're looking at these little toys in this world, and it has it really messes with your sense of scale in a fun way. But in Doom 3, it feels a little bit weird because you kind of expect things to be a certain size. Oh, that laptop is gnarly. It's the Reed laptop. Oh no.
Yeah, Johnny.
It's woof. Oh, hello.
Yeah, you're getting close to the bathroom sequences, aren't you?
I don't think so. I think that's later. Oh, here we go. It's got. Oh man,
Two.
the double laser point looks amazing in that. Look at that.
Yeah, I do wonder why they ended up doing that though. It's actually a pretty cool idea. I guess they wanted to have it somewhere centered on the model, to give you a sense of how it burst fires. There's some weird, there's some weird Doom 3 things. I always found the way they repeat the files for the assault rifle and the chain gun by default, I think it is the chain gun as well too, makes the assault rifle sound like it's stuttering while it's firing. It goes like da-da-da, 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 which it actually doesn't. It actually has a consistent rate of fire. It's just the sound file isn't playing back correctly, or it loops weirdly.
Yeah, that always confused me.
I don't know if they probably didn't fix it in Doom 3 BFG, if I recall. It's probably the exact same. But the firing animation there looks pretty awesome, actually.
Dude, this actually...
That would feel really good, yeah.
So the flashlight mounted on the weapons and the way they feel in this actually reminds me more of Riddick than Doom 3. Somehow...
Bernie, my favorite.
There he is, and they get all that...
quite a bit of damage, wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, how does that look like?
Oh, this might actually make me throw up if I stay in here too long.
Yeah,
That is weird.
yeah.
That messes up your viewpoint.
Frame
Hello.
buffer distortion effects probably aren't the greatest fit for VR. But this game wasn't designed around it. That like best practices.
Nope.
I don't know if some of these animations are playing correctly because the way he just did the dive there, I don't know if his upper half of his body was completing the proper animation cycle it did because that didn't look right. I don't know. I played a lot of Doom 3. I don't know if that looked right.
I know what you mean.
Like earlier with the guy running out where the top half of his body was not in the proper animation sequence.
That's right. But Alex, I feel like we've been at this for a pretty good amount of time. At this
I think
point,
so too. Yeah.
Even though we've only seen just the beginning here, and so I mean, I guess I can give kind of a verdict thought on this again, since I'm the one in here.
Yeah, for sure.
It's cool. It is cool. I like this. It plays fun. It's Doom 3. I love Doom 3. You love Doom 3.
Sure.
But it definitely does not take full advantage of the VR medium. So, like, I do need to try with the aim controller to see how that actually feels, I guess. But, the 2D cutscenes, the way you interact with the world, this, like, bolting your hands together like this. There's all these different elements that just feel a little bit tacked on. Like, it works, but it doesn't feel amazing or super immersive. But at the same time, the core gameplay, especially with the way the flashlight works now compared to normal BFG, it's good.
Yeah.
It's actually quite good. And I had that PDA icon floating on the screen for a while. I just noticed it. And I like this. This feels cool. So, I mean, they've done a nice job, but you could probably do better with some of the mods on PC actually, and also even there, I don't think that it fully takes advantage of what Doom 3 could be in VR, but I think that would require more time, money, and thought to really get it there.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it as well. One thing I'm curious about is in the eventuality of this releasing on a PC VR headset, I'm curious whether or not this. Whoa, that must be really close. I don't know what that looks like in VR. But it should be interesting to see how it plugs into the currently open source Doom 3 BFG package. Whether or not this could be taken apart after it releases on PC and maybe be fiddled with a bit to be made different, change some stuff. That'd be interesting to see.
Maybe so. I would love that.
I can't wait to see if that happens. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I can't wait. I'm very excited to see that VR continues. PSVR 2 should be really interesting. The hardware grunt is finally there in PS5 to really do PC quality VR, I think, especially with the new controllers. Like, that's the main thing. So there's a lot of potential here, and I'm excited to see where it goes still. But yeah, I think it's going to do it for now. So, of course, thank you for joining me, Alex.
Anytime, John.
And for everybody at home, thanks for watching all the way to the end. And, like the video if you did like it. Check out our Patreon, follow us on Twitter, ring that bell. You know the drill by now. Come on now. And until next time, this is John and Alex signing off.